Hey there, it's your host Dan once again. Today I got a twofer for you, a repair and a review. The repair, we're going to be restoring a set of yellow faded headlights, and the review, I bought one of these 3M Headlight Restoration Kits to make the job go a little bit easier. Now that I got the kit unboxed, I can see exactly what's inside. There are these gold sanding discs, which are the equivalent of 500 grit sanding paper. Then there's 6 of these, 4 of these, the white ones, which is the equivalent of 800. And there's also this Trizac disc, which is the equivalent of about 3,000. So they go 500, 800, right to 3,000 in this kit. And here's our compounding pad and also our backing plate, which has the Velcro on it. I thought this almost was like a finishing pad by the way it looked in the packaging, but it's not. It's just a one-step. I really wanted to two-step these headlights, and I think I still will. I'll use the compound that came supplied with the kit as the first step, and then I'll do a second step by hand on that. So that's what everything that came in the kit. I think it's well worth the 15 bucks. So let's get started. Here's the passenger headlight. It's pretty nasty. It's the worst out of both of them. There's a lot of yellowing and hazing and crazing going on this light. And up here on the top, somebody's already tried. Previous owner, probably before me, has tried to scrape some of that off. They probably didn't get too far and decided this is a lot of work and stopped. Let's go take a look at the driver headlight. It's not as bad as the passenger. There's like a line running across it. You can see it goes from side to side. Everything above that is all yellowed out. Everything below is pretty well still clear. Up here in the corner, I tried some Meguiar's number 7 show car glaze, rubbed that in a little bit. Did pretty good job, but it's covering it up. It's not really correcting the problem there. This whole headlight is going to have to be completely sanded, the top and the bottom. Everything's got to be removed to get that clear protective layer off. That way we can bring it back to clear again. Now, when you do this, you have two options. You can tape around the headlight to start with, or you can just completely remove it from the car. Me, I chose to just completely remove it from the car. This little bracket here made it real easy to pop the headlight out. I just took it out and unplugged it. And this way I can just work on it on the bench. And I'm going to show you the results of what this is going to turn out to look like to start. And then we'll go through the process of how to do this all. Okay, I installed the driver headlight back into place. This turned out awesome. I mean, it looks really clear. This will fool people into thinking that this is a brand new headlight, and it's not. It's the same 13-year-old headlight, just reconditioned. Let's take a look at that other side there. Ew. Still have that one to do. Now that I know exactly what I'm doing, it'll go a lot quicker on this side. Let's go over and take a look at the driver one more time. A little low here for you. That looks awesome. Just as a quick test, I turned the lights out, and we can definitely see that that left driver headlight is much brighter than the passenger side. Removing the headlight on this car is relatively painless. Just this one 10mm bolt here. Okay, let's get that off to the side. One bolt, this bracket. Come on. There we go. Just lifts up, and then the headlight itself will just pull out as one whole unit. Come on. I know you want to go. There we go. Careful. And then we'll spin it around. It's got a little clip here. There we go. And I'm completely disconnected. It'll be a lot easier to work on it on the bench. Just like I did on the driver headlight, I'm going to go ahead and take this rubber gaskety deal off. Get this unclipped. Got to be careful with it because it is old. Don't want to break it. We're stuck there a little bit at the end. Just got to pry it up. Just being really careful. There we go. I don't want to break it. There we go. That's the end. It's got to pretty much come off first. Once that's off, I can kind of manipulate this part that's kind of squeezed in here. Just run my finger down it. There we go. It's pretty much falling out at this point. Okay, got the gasket removed. This way I don't have to tape anything. I mean, I'm just going to move pretty much straight to sanding. It's kind of clean. I'm not going to worry about cleaning this off. Right to sanding, and I'm going to hit it with 400 to start with, based on my experience on the driver headlight. This one's a little worse. If I had sandpaper maybe like 320, I probably would even start with that, knowing how much it's going to take with the 400. And also here too, I was almost going to start with one of these discs with the headlight still on the car to get a lot of the preliminary sanding done, because when I have it off like this, it's just too wobbly. I'd almost need a second person to hold this while I'm doing it with the drill, and my drill is pretty cheap. It's a $20 Black & Decker drill, so you know, and it was bouncing too much on the plastic, and when that happens, it's going to hit and it can do weird things in the plastic, so I don't want to use that method anymore. And besides, if you look at the corner of this headlight, the disc, if I was using it that way still on the car, I'm going to be missing this portion here, which I'd have to do by hand anyways. And if I'm going to get up here, I would just have just a little bit of the disc on there. I wouldn't want to round off this corner. So I think in the end, what I found out, at least for me, you know, trying to do it with the discs, if you had maybe a headlight that was completely flat, this is probably a better way to go. It would be a lot easier. But my headlights are curved, and you know, a shallow surface over here, a part I can't get to. So I think doing this by hand is really the best way to go, at least I think in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to do this with 400. Got a bottle filled with just some water. We'll be spraying it with water to keep it lubricated. I've also got the light propped up on my dirty pillow here. Don't laugh at me, my dirty pillow. Just so that way I can move it around and it's not banging around on the ground. It's not going to hurt anything. Well, let's get started. Get everything nice and wet. It might take me, oh geez, 15 minutes with the 400 based on the other headlight. But I'd really like to get this light, if I can. I want to try and make this one look better than the first one I did. The driver one, which is basically the first light I've ever done. I think it turned out really nice. This one's a little worse condition. We got to get all that layer off the entire headlight. Look at that nice yellowy goo coming off of there. So I'll grab a rag and I'll start wiping it down. This way I can see all the areas that I still need to give some attention. I'm just going to take a moment and let this just air dry. Let it dry up. So now after I've given it a little sanding, I can see the areas that are pretty much done sanding and the areas that need to still be sanded. This whole area over here is really pitted. It's going to take a lot more. Okay, so I think I got this corner pretty well done, or at least with 400. There we go. That's going to be the desired effect you're going to want to see with 400. Everything needs to look like this frosted color. Nothing clear or shiny anywhere. And down here I've got a lot more to go. So I'll start working this across the top. Now as I'm standing here with the 400, the slurry kind of, it's pretty much white. You would think I'm kind of done, but I know I'm not, because I can tell every time I wipe it off dry. This coating on here is like really on here. Getting rose gathered at the masses. Yeah. Ah yes, what a lovely song. Alright, so I'm done with 400, and this took a while on the passenger side headlight. Mainly because there was some kind of crazing in the plastic right here. I don't know if somebody tried using like solvent. It might have damaged the plastic, but I really had to sand this down. And this is the effect after 400. You just want all that clear gone. You want everything to look as to be frosted on the light. That way I can move to the next step, which after this I'm going to do 600 and get that ready. I got a piece of 600 here. I used all my 400 on it. 2 full sheets to get this one off. It was well over half an hour of sanding on this one. So now I'm going to move on to 600. I'm going to give it at least 15 minutes of sanding this whole headlight with the 600. We'll get going on that. Let it down again. Wet our sandpaper. Get my dirty pillow out of the way. Oh yeah, we need tunes. There we go. Okay, I'm done with 600. And it'll lighten up just a little bit, but it's still going to be frosted at the 600 stage. It doesn't lighten up clear until about 1,000. So this is the point where I want to really double check this, make sure I don't have any deep scratches that I might need to go back or do a little bit more with. It'd just be that much harder to get out at the next step. So I think we're good. I think I'm going to move up to the 800 now. Everything's evaporating. I'm just checking to see the progress with the 800. Next I got to switch to 1,000. I forgot where my 1,000's at. Let's see here. There we go. I got a little piece of 1,000 here. And it's looking pretty good. I don't see any deep scratches in it. And I thought this side was going to go a lot faster, but I'm really just taking my time with it. Like I said, I'm trying to make this side turn out better than the driver's side, starting with a headlight that was in much worse condition. So, and I think really a lot of it is all in the sanding, which I had to polish the other one 3 times to get all the scratches out. So if I do a little bit of extra effort with the sanding, it's just going to make the polishing that much easier. This is looking pretty good here. Yep, it's time to move on to 1,000. Okay, this is the effects of 1,000 minus a few drips I got on it. Always want to inspect your work, make sure there's no scratches. You need to go back. And I'm going to do 1,500 now as the next step. It's not really a race on this to see how fast I can do it. This one I want to see how well I can do it. So I don't care how long it takes. It's coming back nice. I'm spending a little extra effort on this one. That should be good for 1,500. And let's move on up to 2,000. Okay, that's about 10 minutes with the 2,000. Get to my last step, 2500. There we go, 2500. Okay, I think I'm about done with the sanding. I've probably been sanding this darn light for well over 2 hours, which I know you're going to say, oh my god, that's crazy. But this isn't about speed here on this one. This is about quality. I want to see how good I can get this light. And I took the extra steps sanding the bejesus out of it. One, because it was worse than the other one, and it had that kind of crazing on it. On the light, I got all that out, and I want the polishing step to go a little bit easier. I think that should do it. So at 2500, we're not completely clear yet. We got just a little bit of a haze to it. I can still see some very, very fine scratches in it. That'll be good. I'm going to move on to the polishing stage now. Okay, so for one of our, well, not final, but one of our last steps here is going to be to compound this and get her back to clear, get her shining again. Have to kind of mush this compound around a little bit. This way it's not going to fling when you start it up. My drill spins at 1500 RPM on full blast, which is about recommended. Further instructions, anything up to 1600 RPM, you don't want to go higher than that or it'll start burning the plastic. Alright, so let's start polishing. I'm just gonna double check that, see how that's doing really. Wow. Yeah, since I took the extra time to do extra sanding, the polishing is coming out really nice. I mean, it's making it really easy. So I just want to get a little more of that on there. Alright, so I got a clean microfiber. I'm going to wipe it down. I'm going to see how I did. See if I need more polishing. This is a lot better the first time right out of the box. The object of this, on this headlight here, once again, is to try to get this one to look its best. So I'm going to do it again with our compound. So as an extra step, after I did the compounding, I don't have another pad. Kind of wish I did, but it's kind of pretty much dried out. I'm just going to use some show car glaze as like my quasi two-step here. I know it's not the greatest idea to mix it on the same pad, but whatever. That's my way of two-stepping this really fast. Hit it with some glaze after this compound. So I'll go ahead and wipe everything back off. So in total, I probably have been working on this light now for about 3 hours. But hoping it's going to turn out. It's looking like it's turning out better than the other side. I mean, with anything, the more effort you put into it, the better results you're going to achieve, of course. Okay, I think that's pretty much about as good as this is going to get. And I'd have to say it's right on par with the other light. Although this one was a lot worse to start out with. It was a lot harder to sand. Okay, so for one of the last steps, I'm just gonna hit this with a paint sealant. This is Jescar Power Lock. One of the best paint sealants there is, pretty much. Unless you get one of those ceramic dealies. But you gotta put something on this because the sun is just gonna have its way with it again and make it yellow. So you at least want to put something on there to protect it from the sun, the elements, all that good stuff. And it's basically just like waxing. This is like a polymer paint sealant. And they say it'll go about 6 months max. You know, as far as a paint sealant. It should be about the same here in the plastic, hopefully. But I decided I'm not gonna do clear coat, like spray on clear, like some people do in their videos, because if you do that, that's, you know, extra steps from here, which you gotta spray on the clear. And I'm not the greatest painter. I'm usually kind of in a hurry. I don't want to wait, and then I've got a couple extra steps afterwards where I'll have to, you know, sand it again in case there's orange peel. I think I'm going to try this first, see how long this lasts, and see if this will give me pretty much, you know, good protection for, you know, a long while. I wouldn't mind doing the lights a couple times a year to keep them up. That's no big deal. If it was something like where, you know, I gotta do it every month, or, you know, these things are going to yellow back up, then maybe I might redo it and pursue the clear option. But I'm going to try this for now, see how this stacks up. You know, putting on like a sealant like the Jescar, applying that on there. I want to make sure I get a nice good layer on here. Okay, I'd say we got a pretty good coating of that on there. They recommend letting this sit for 30 minutes, which I'll do, and then just kind of buff it off. And I'll get the gasket ready, and we'll put it back in the car. Alright, I'm done. Thank God. Well, a little over 3 hours it took me to do this, busting my chops. I'll tell you, this one was pretty bad. I got the gasket back on. After I put the power lock on, I put a fast coating of wax on top of that, like a topper. What the hey? You know, guys do it to the paint. I can do it to my headlights. So this is the final result. Alright, as far as everything I used to get this process done, basically was the headlight kit. Although I'm going to put everything back in the box, I kind of folded this over. There's still some compound in here. I washed this out as best I can. I'm just waiting for it to dry. I really didn't even use any of these discs. I used one of the gold discs for about a minute and stopped. So I can put that all back together. I almost have a brand new kit. But I'm glad I had sandpaper on hand, because my 400, there were 5 sheets in there. Used all of those. A couple sheets of 800, a couple sheets of 600, and also I had a multi-pack here which had 1000, 2000, 1500, and 2500. All of these in there. There were two 2000s in this pack. I have the extra 2000, so I used 4 out of here. So I used almost 3 packs of sandpaper, almost about $10. I don't know, maybe half the kit, I suppose. Under 20 bucks to get this done. I used the mirror glaze as like my second two-step as a further polish on the plastic. And then the Just Car, the power lock, and the wax, I already have those on hand. You know, you can pretty much just use pretty much what you just have on hand. That's just what I particularly use on my cars. So now that everything's said and done, I'm going to score this kit. I'm going to score it 2 different ways. One, for value. I'm going to give it a strong 9. I mean, what you get in the package for the money, you get quite a lot. This was only $13 to my door. I double checked, so we're talking what, $8-9 kit here. So I'm going to give that a strong 9. As far as performance on this kit, I'm going to give it a 6.5, because for me, I really would have liked to have an extra finishing pad in here and maybe an in-between sanding step instead of jumping from 800 right to 3000. And there are other kits on the market which are more all-inclusive, like I know Wolfgang makes a kit that has 2 different pads and a few more sanding steps in between, and it also comes with the compound inside, like a polish, and then also a sealer, so you get all 3 of those in one kit, but that kit's about $60. It's kind of pricey. So 9 on the value for your money on the kit, and once again a 6.5 on the performance. Just a little more on why I chose to use the Just Car, the polymer sealant on the headlights versus any other kind of sealing method. Now, if you just use this, and this is all you use on your headlights, about 3 to 6 months, if you park outside and your car's exposed to the sun, the elements, all that yada yada, those effects of the nasty headlights, it's going to start creeping back, probably 3 to 6 months. So all that work is going to kind of go out the window. You have to do something to seal them, and it's going to require maintenance. I mean, some people are going to tell you they have a permanent solution, and in my opinion, I don't think anything's permanent. I really don't. That's why I chose to use the polymer sealant, because I'm probably going to get like up to 6 months worth of protection before those effects are going to start to come back. And another reason is I own this. I have a DA, so about twice a year I'm going to be going over the whole car with the DA anyways, and what's it going to take me, a minute or 2 per side on the headlight to just kind of freshen them up and then reapply that? So that's my maintenance. Now, if you didn't have one of these and all you did was park your car outside and let the rain wash it, and that's about your idea of maintenance, you're going to want to use something a little better than this. I wouldn't use this. I would either use a clear coat option, like a spray-on acrylic. That's only going to get you about 2 years of protection. And once that acrylic starts to get yellow and haze back up, you're going to have to repeat this whole process all over again. Other than that, there's a UV, a protective film you can get to put on your headlight. That can last up to 5 years. But once again, nothing's going to be permanent. If you really want something that's going to last the longest, of course, go get a new headlight. But those aren't permanent either, because that's why we got to this point in the first place of redoing the headlights. Nothing's going to be permanent. It's all going to require maintenance, or how long is it going to last. And I haven't done this before. This is kind of an experiment for me, but I'm hoping in my case that, hey, every 6 months I hit the car, with the DA, go around it, lock it back in with the Just Car. I'm thinking I should be okay. It's not going to really be that much more to do the headlights when I'm doing the whole car anyways. It's just going to be a couple minutes here and there. It's no big deal. So that's my method to the madness of what I chose to use as far as a sealant for my headlights. So let's go back over the car and let's see them one last time of how nice they look. There's our passenger, all finished, all pretty looking just like brand new. Once again, that would probably fool somebody into thinking it's a brand new headlight. But it's not, it's just reconditioned. And this one took me, oh boy, well over 3 hours to get this one done. But it looks phenomenal. It looks awesome. It really does. And it was well worth the time to get this one done, because I think it turned out just a touch better than the driver one. And it was in a lot worse shape than this one. And that's how to get her done. Brand new headlights for pretty much just about under 20 bucks. Pretty easy job. Anybody can do this. So I hope you learned something today. Just want to say, hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks for watching.